What's poppin' people, with your boy Zero, aka Black, Natsuki, Subaru, and hold on. Now I gotta put that shit on me real quick, you know what I'm saying? Hoi! Hoi! Look, I'm Aldebaran now. Oh god. Shit. Well, let's see. Zoop. Who am I? Am I Aldebaran or am I Subaru? Anyway, so as you guys see by the title, we are here reading ReZero web novel arc 9 chapter 31, 100% effort. Now, you guys already know how this goes. I'm bricked up. You're bricked up. Let's be bricked up together as we read this chapter of ReZero. Also, don't forget to leave a like, share with your homies, subscribe, hit the notification bell as well so you can stay updated on when I make videos, content go live, and all of that good crazy shit. Without further ado, 100% effort. Its visibility accompanied by a thundering wait, the last thing that happened. Wait. Did I read the beginning of this? Oh, yeah. Hold on. I'm pretty sure I read the beginning of this. Where's my? Oh. Okay, so yeah, I see where I left off at. Okay. However, Aldebaran was incapable of that. Bearing the responsibility, he must see it through with his own eyes. As you'd expect. To the spectacle reflected in the squinted black irises inside his helmet, Aldebaran murmured a husky commendation. From the onset of the play, where the Rocky Mountain thundered, the rupturing of skies, an overriding howl of the world no inferior to that had occurred, and a beautiful tower of ice stretched from the ground surface intercepted the countless clods of rock from one side. I fucking love this. I fucking love this theme. I'm sorry. Inverse to its icy congealed appearance, it was a warm hand of salvation bound in compassion and kind affection. On the other hand, the tower of ice glistening pale blue in light also seemed to reveal the deep sorrow of the user. To think of it in that way, it's a bit too poetic-y, don't you think, Uncle? Saying so, Roy ridiculed Aldebaran as he viewed the spectacle, whilst being carried on the latter's shoulder. Roy was immobilized due to his fractured limbs, but he skillfully used his dorsal muscles to upraise his torso, surveying the cataclysm that had assailed upon the royal capital atop of Aldebaran's shoulder. Oh, right. Okay, wait. They were at the royal castle, and the Volcanica Heinkel Wilhelm felt shit. That was at the Priscilla Burial Manor. Okay. I wonder how close they are in... Well, they're probably relatively close. Okay. Where am I? Right here? Okay. The former, having healthy enough of a mouth to be babbling about everything despite being incapable of anything, made Aldebaran wince. You too. Your tongue's gone along with depicting my emotions so much that you're starting to sound poetic. Not like I know much, but that sense would have been much more fitting for your dead counterpart who personified gourmet, rather than you of bizarre eating, no? Right. Keep forgetting that, that Lie is dead. Yeah, because, like, fuck him, right? Let's see. Ha! Taking a blow at the dead family member shows you have some pretty awful upbringing, no? Truth is, it wasn't us, but Lei who went about evaluating what had been eaten one way or another. What a mystery. In the end, for both we and us, that which was eaten would always end up in the same stomach of souls, and yet... This must be what they meant when they say that thieves... No, that snitchers are shameless. What the fuck? Snitchers? Food snitchers? What the fuck? Don't treat us like a thief. We just want to eat a teensy bit more than a full stomach. That's just the kind of adorable gourmandizer we are. And yet, always with a clapback, the... What? Sorry about that, chat. Where am I? Okay. Always with a clapback, the unabating mouth, bizarre eating's abundant lexicon of strength of debate stemmed from the efficiency, the efficacy of his authority of gluttony, and would be outstanding foremost among none only than the... Well, what the fuck? Sorry, reading. Holy shit. My brain is like super cooked this morning. My apologies, chat. Just gonna take it slow and chill. It would be outstanding foremost among not only the Saint Archbishops, but the entire world. It was easy to be deceived by his childish appearance and his manner of speech laying bare his rotten nature. But the being riding atop his shoulder was a monster of accumulated synthesis of wisdom, having indulgently devoured knowledge and experience beyond innumerable. And for that, he must not forego his vigilance. That was precisely why he had abandoned persuasion through words, but opted to forcefully make him abide through violence and the curse mark. Anyhow, the job's done. Let's go. There's no longer any need for you to toss out a lifeline to that Onesan in case she missed any of the rocks, right? Uncle, are you not often called weird or just plain abnormal? Thank you. Thank you for your critical reviews of me for these coming 2 to 3 days. What? Wait. It's been days? Wait, whoa. Oh, wait, this is probably in Al's, like, time perspective. Okay. Because no way it's been days since that shit's happened. Because, like, he only has, like, a few days left to... Okay, I get it. Correctly guessing Aldebaran's reason for stopping with zero explanations, with a few unnecessary words ended at the end by Roy, he replied, foregoing the will to compete with a child, or with a kid. Thus, with the royal capital having escaped harm's way thanks to Amelia, Aldebaran's ascertain a corner of its noble district, which had been entirely flattened, and once again hastened his feet. Oh, the fight. Oh. With the culmination of his battle against Valga Cromwell, Aldebaran had revised his perception that his authority, which he had assessed to be peerless, also had hazardous adversaries capable of sinking their teeth into it. Even now, his conviction that none could defeat him wavered not. However, in order to turn that conviction into firm assurance that he must not grow complacent concerning his authority, that he must never stop thinking, he admonished his own self. Therefore, in his plan for sneaking into the royal capital and breaking Gluttony out of jail, he had not opted for an easier redo, but challenged it with his utmost might, firmly and thoroughly using each and every one of Aldebaran's lives with the assiduousness to squeeze out the tube of toothpaste to the very end, concluding with a count of 6,724. Damn. Damn. All of that just to break Gluttony's arms and shit. And legs. To interpret that as too numerous or too few would depend on the person. But fundamentally, Aldebaran would think of each count as being pertinent. No matter what the magnitude of a count might have been, he wasted not a single run, braving the necessary challenge to surmount the wall. On extremely seldom occasions. Oh god, I'm just thinking about how like grueling that must have been, his training with Echidna, having to just like die like 10,000 times, like each fucking way you can die. God, dude. Like, this man is desensitized. And I think, yeah, I think that in arc, I think it was arc 7? Arc 7 or arc 8, when he got infernalized, that's why he was freaking out so much, because he couldn't activate his domain. So bro was like, bro, if I die, I'm dead. Like, which would be interesting, because like once they, if they, see, that's the thing, because like Ao could never perma-die in front of somebody. So everyone would be able to see his face if he did perma-die. And then they'd be like, hey, Subaru? Anyway, where am I? On extremely seldom occasions, he had also expended a single life of inaction in order to calm his heart. But those lives had been ones in which a breather for the heart had been indispensable. Hence, no matter the count, if he attained the results he had sought, Aldebaran would insist that 6,724 had been the optimal number of attempts. Yo, shitty helmet bastard! The rendezvous point had been agreed upon in advance. This place, sufficiently far from the royal capital, was a long-abandoned quarry, perfect for scoundrels hiding from the public eye to meet up. In this quarry, the one to greet Aldebaran with a sharp accost was felt. Her back leaned upon a crumbling stone wall, red irises ablaze with rage and animosity, her fangs visible between her distorted lips. She postured herself with arms crossed and evinced her scorn for Aldebaran. Her way of calling him had also downstepped from simply helmet bastard to shitty helmet bastard. Belt jerked her slim chin, indicating the royal capital visible from afar. That large rock, if Amelia Nichan hadn't stopped it, just how many people do you think it would have killed? What happened to your policy of not causing anyone's death? Did you intend to flout everything you decided on each time you lose heart? Lame. Lame can't even begin to describe you. Guess so. I'm also relieved that you're safe, little Miss Felt. Huh? It's a joke. Or rather, a quip. A gag that fell totally flat. As Felt's prickliness compounded with his reply, Aldebaran powerlessly responded. Perhaps perceiving this attitude of Aldebaran's as insincere, she pitched forward as if to snap at him when Roy announced the, you know, Felt-chan, from a top. Wait, what? As Felt's prickliness compounded with his reply, Aldebaran powerlessly responded. Perhaps perceiving this attitude of Aldebaran's as insincere, she pitched forward as if to snap at him when Roy encountered a, you know, Felt-chan, from atop his shoulder. Want to tell you to keep it up, but when it comes to naggingly pressing this uncle, we've completed the preliminary preparation of ingredients on our end. So may as well try changing up the flavor with a different seasoning. What the fuck's up my reading right now? Holy shit. Hold on. I'm gonna take 5. Okay. Alright. Belt jerked her slim chin, indicating the royal capital. Wait. I just read all this. Wait, where am I? What? Oh, I'm like, fuck. I'm all the way down here. Okay, I'm just gonna reread that line. Want to tell you to keep it up. But when it comes to naggingly pressing this uncle, we've completed the preliminary preparation of ingredients on our end. So, may as well try changing up the flavor with a different seasoning. How about it? How about shit? So you're the gluttony who got caught. Are you the older brother or the younger one? Whichever way, you've got an irritating mug that resembles your siblings. Ah! You're also acquainted with us? Well, makes sense. We heard it from Louis too. Oh, forgot. It's Louis Rui Speaker. Fucking words. Anyway. That because of Felchan? Lei suffered food poisoning, you see? You mean back when they were blaming my name for something or another? Served him right. The girl progressively sharpened her cussing. Felt had reputedly once encountered gluttony, Lei Batten Katos, in Priscilla. Her speech made light of his sibling from back then, who had since died on top of that. But just like with Aldebaran's instance, Roy only showed a smile alongside a haha in good humor. By the way, amongst us, it's unknown who of us was the eldest son. As for us, there were times we felt like being the eldest son, yet also felt at times like being the second son. Maybe because of that is what we're saying. Don't go yapping on with such stupid reasoning. The order of brothers and sisters isn't something you can just decide by feeling. You gotta decide if you'll yield to it. If you'll yield it or accept it before it's gone. Haha, both Uncle and Felchan. You think you can say anything if it's to the hated Sin Archbishops? Very nice, very nice. It's what you call everyone's shared consensus, right? Hey, shitty helmet bastard. I've got no intention of having a fun little chat with him. Hurry up and shut his feigned mouth, then answer my questions. I agree with you that he needs to shut up, but the time for the question-answer session will have to wait a bit. Before that, obstructing Felt's demand, Aldebaran turned his head on the spot, apprehending the intent behind his actions of surveying the insides of the quarry. Felt clicked her tongue with a "You!" and jerked her chin. Deep within the quarry, a humble cabin barely maintaining its shape, Aldebaran guided its line of sight towards that and... Al-Sama. The very moment that Ye appeared out of the cabin. What? Wait, what? She's alive? No fucking way. What the fuck? What's going on? What? Her eyes met Aldebaran's. Accompanied by a faintly warm aroma, Ye had likely been preparing a meal inside the cabin. He was grateful for that consideration, and even though he was grateful... Wait, is this just like a flashback? Wait. What? And from the looks of it, you had it pretty rough, yeah? With merely a glance, Aldebaran perceived a difference from her usual easygoing and elusive self. Her characteristics was so made outfit was torn all over, and her red hair, which she never failed to maintain even on the battlefield, was frayed. But above all else was her expression. An atmosphere of meekness, or rather, one bereft of naivete, was doing the greatest harm to her usual image. And as proof of that, thank goodness. Softly placing a hand over her chest, Ye muttered at the convergence with Aldebaran. Sensing a hue... Wait, she's alive? Sensing a hue of emotion painting that voice, Aldebaran felt a bit daunted, though he would never admit to it. So he shrugged his shoulders with a oi oi. Isn't that a degree of auspiciousness unbefitting Yae-san? The helpful all-purpose maid? To not even be able to back me up. What kind of surprise guest did you have an affair with? How the fuck did she live? She was cooked! Man! I'm mad. I'm fucking mad, bro. To say that I had an affair would be bad for my reputation, Al-sama. You are well aware that you have complete control over Yae-chan's heart, Al-sama. Bro, the fact that this bitch is alive. The hesitation that had accompanied her answer for a moment vanished, returning Yae's demeanor to business as usual. Sliding her finger down her chest, she resumed. But, I suppose it's true that I spent some passionate time with a gentleman. But one who graced the mansion with his presence was the sword demon, Wilhelm van Astrea. No, Wilhelm Trias-sama. The sword demon grandpa, huh? That's the unforeseen assassin. Yae. Wait. At the unforeseen assassin, Yae would likely been stupefied, but it was difficult to label him the worst possible enemy. Of course, there was no doubt that he was one of the foremost powerful fighters in the kingdom, but a swordsman would have been far more manageable than a magician for Yae. In addition, she had laid her traps all around the Burial Villa, converting it into the perfect hunting ground for the Crimson Sakura, so to speak. However, given that Aldebaran had ultimately hastened there to provide relief, the sword demon's honed edge had exceeded that of Yae's. And from her expression, it was clear that it had not even been a narrow defeat, but one rather of a complete annihilation. God damn. And likely, the reason behind that sharpness was the old man, sulking over there as he is, ain't unrelated now, is he? Where Aldebaran had directed his attention, on a neglected stump of wood, chopping block next to the cabin, was a red-haired man hugging a knee as he cast his eyes down. Heinkel. With his head hanging limp, the blood soiling Heinkel's entire body had yet to be cleaned off. From Aldebaran's position, it was difficult to tell whether that blood was his own or someone else's. However, what happened? My consciousness was all fuzzy at the time, so I didn't catch it with my own eyes, but... What? Supposedly, Heinkel-sama slew the sword demon-sama. Yae's response, lacking any conclusive evidence, caused Aldebaran's breath to catch, as he turned his gaze to Heinkel once more. Naturally, Aldebaran was aware of the relationship between Heinkel and Wilhelm. It had become a story of confrontation between parent and child, ending with son slaying the father. He was aware of Heinkel's excessively fatal flaw as a swordsman, but between his father and his son, the old man sure was stuck indefinitely between a rock and a hard place. The discord within the Astrea family, down to its core, Aldebaran knew not. Only he knew that the existence of the divine what the fuck? Jesus fucking Christ, it's fucking fly, dude. Only he knew that the existence of the divine protection of the Sword Saint and the title of Sword Saint had given rise to friction across 3 generations of parent, child, and grandchild. And that friction had amounted to something definite because of this occasion. Reinhardt and Wilhelm, over these few days, Heinkel had taken a position in complete opposition to both of them. Aldebaran and the rest had no right to worry about his feelings. He was someone caught up in this for the sake of being used. I know Wilhelm's not dead. Like, there's no fucking way that yeah. Like, there's no fucking. Somebody probably pulled up, grabbed him, healed him, and he's chilling. But no fucking. He was someone caught up. Wait. Oh yeah, I just read that. He was someone caught up in this for the sake of being used. It would have been nothing but shameless to call out to him and ask if he was okay. Hence, Aldebaran returned his gaze to Ye, asking, "So then? What about the grandpa? If the old man slayed him, then all of this would be his blood, so..." For the time being, only the most minimal of treatment was applied. We couldn't stay there long at all, so it's really just the bare minimum. The sudden voice jolting his shoulders. Aldebaran goggled at his surroundings, but Aldebaran, who should have been the owner of that voice, was nowhere to be found. It was the divine dragon's husk. What? What? It was the divine dragon's dragon husk. It was not of a size that could be overlooked. And right when he thought that. Sorry. For now, optical camouflage consolation. The fuck? No sooner than those words were uttered, in the space that ought to have been completely empty up until then, resting its jaw on the rock wall that Felt had been leaning against, there appeared the massive body of the limply reclined dragon. Watching the way it appeared, as if the blurred atmosphere was gradually gaining color, Aldebaran widened his eyes with a "Whoa!" Optical camouflage. Is that bending light to make yourself transparent? So you can do that sort of thing? As you'd expect, correcting it while moving in real time would be impossible, you know? But when limited to just the times when I'm completely still, most of the demerits that come with this body quite literally disappear, yeah? Okay. Sounds about right. I think a dragon that turns invisible's pretty damn cool. It was possible to realize magic that bent light by combining yang magic and wind magic, but it would consume far too much fuel to have it continuously active. It required a very precise control of magic to blend into the surrounding environment. And it was a challenge that would very likely not reach the sought after standard. In reality, it had been difficult for even Aldebaran to perform, so instead, it had kept it on standby, concealed above the clouds of the royal capital. Oh, okay. Okay, so he was like, wait, does he have to flap his wings to fly, or can he just like soar? Like just in general? So he healed Wilhelm just enough, or he healed Ye just enough. I mean, like, he had to have, like, no. So he probably healed Heinkel minimally, or no, not Heinkel, Wilhelm, and then healed Ye up pretty well. Damn, that bitch is still fucking alive. It would have been sick if Wilhelm had got that W though, or I mean, like, he got the W, but like if he had got that kill, that would have been a nice, like, nice kill. Anyway. If you've become capable of doing it, then must have been quite the hard-fought battle. It was neck and neck with the other side. To be honest, without the old man's backstab, a bit of fear flashed through my head that I might have lost. A backstab, huh? Shaking his head, Aldebaran processed the two surprises. First was the thought of how fearsome the sword demon must have been to inspire visions of defeat within Aldebaran. Even if the current loaded software was different, the hardware specs were undoubtedly that of the divine dragon. So to reach that splendor immediately following the battle with Ye, one would have to have been an thinkable monster. Glaze, my boy, glaze him some more. Thus, the second surprise was naturally the manner in which Heinkel had intervened with the battle, Wait, did I skip? Okay. It likely wouldn't have been easy to have settled things fair and square, but ending things with a backstab's probably wrecking the old man's mental. Well, I think there's no doubt about it. Ultimately, ever since we fled the royal capital, he hasn't spoken to us even once. Is that so? Receiving an affirmation from Ye that Heinkel's affliction was just as he'd imagined, Aldebaran took a deep breath and looked over those present once more. Ye was dejected by her defeat, and Aldebaran had been overwhelmed by the sword demon. Heinkel was cowering with the shock of stabbing his father, and felt was not even trying to hide her enmity to the rest of them. Finally, atop his shoulders, Roy was in merry spirits, and Aldebaran himself was an atrocious villain, going full speed down the path of being a coward. On top of being a lineup of good-for-nothings, they were in quite a tattered state. Even so, everyone's alive. Upon reuniting face-to-face with everyone at the quarry, ascertaining their survival, Aldebaran released the tension from his shoulders, silently rescinded his territory, and reopened a new matrix. Oh, okay. With his restart point updated, the events that took place at the royal capital were set in stone from the world's history, or for this world's history. In other words, he would no longer be able to take back the tears that had flowed from her amethyst eyes. But that's fine. The moment I decided to betray everything, there'd be no such convenience as making an exception for any one person. He would not compromise. Wavering of his heart was forbidden. Were he to falter, all would come to naught. In order to conclude that there had been meaning in all the pain he had suffered with his body, with his heart, Aldebaran's party could not afford to fail, let alone halt their legs. Yea, if you've prepared food, then give it here. I'm starving. I didn't take any of the ingredients from the mansion with me, so I stole from stores along the way. I noted down what I took from which stores, so please pay for it all later. How shrewd of you. Wait, how shrewd of you. Got it. Also, this guy here. So you want me to tie and hang him up? Oh, okay, talking about Roy. For some reason, I thought they had brought Will home, but like, never mind. I'm gonna take two. My brain's cooked right now. One sec, chat. As she spoke, Ye made a fluid motion with her upraised finger, and Aldebaran's shoulders suddenly felt lighter. Roy's body was tied up by a steel thread. Oh, she could still use it. Well, I guess, yeah, that makes sense. By a steel thread suspended on the stone wall of the quarry. What's this? What's this? This treatment again? Well, maybe it's better than hanging upside down, but still. Stay put like that for a bit. Once I decide on how to discipline you, I'll heal your arms and legs. However, don't forget the curse mark. Oh, don't forget the curse mark, right? Isn't it fine? There's no way we'd ever say we won't plot anything, but for the time being, we'll hold off and evaluate for you. Oh. Evaluate, eh? Because lay die, perhaps. We have no intention whatsoever of succeeding gourmet or anything like that. Well, let's try taking a bit more of an interest in things before serving atop the platter, is what we're saying. With both arms and legs bound, hung up rigidly like a shrimp, Roy swung his body. Shrugging his shoulders at the eeriness, Aldebaran crossed gazes with Aldebaran. I guess, well, yeah, like with all of them there, like there's no way that Roy would be able to really do anything, because there's the fucking divine dragon. Wait, can he eat the name and memories of Volcanica? But then that would be eating Al's Oh, well, yeah, but it's still going against. Okay, okay. So he can't eat anyone's memories there unless he said, okay. My brain was just like, wait a minute, wait. Possessing the same ego as himself, he drew back its large jaw, a firm promise that it would not avert its eyes. That reminds me, Plan B was a huge help. Thanks to that, we got away. Ah, so that's what you went with, Origin. What? I thought of it as a second plan. Well, it's a good thing that we landed on the same idea. Origin. It's getting a bit tiresome to keep calling you the other me. Yeah? And so, I was thinking, how about Origin? As in progenitor. How's descendant for me? Progenitor and descendant. Sort of like Ike ramen? Ike ramen? Yeah. At Aldebaran's proposal, Aldebaran lazily dodged it with a, I'll think about it. Then he finally turned to face the angry expression on Felt's face, which he had been putting off. With her arms crossed, Felt's eyes had been ablaze with an unaltered indignation. But you figured out that it was little Miss Amelia who stopped the massive boulder, yeah? Are you making fun of me? Nobody else but Amelia Nichan would perform such an idiotic feat. The way that you say that makes me wonder which one of us is making fun of who. But yeah, you're right. I dropped the boulder knowing full well that little Miss Amelia would stop it all. You're gonna be getting much more than just an ass kicking. The despicable trick Aldebaran had pulled in order to get away, Felt had understood it true, and her lips contorted more and more as she threatened. Her threat stunk in the Undercity. Stunk of the Undercity. He had sensed that it represented her utmost rage. However, Aldebaran harbored another emotion simultaneously. Aldebaran's method of doing things, and Amelia, who had been ensnared by it, including the jailbreak of gluttony. It was a lineup that would naturally incur Felt's ire. But it seemed like there had been other reasons behind the overflowing of Felt's anger. The thing with the old man and the sword demon grandpa, it ain't your fault, Feltjon. I never once thought it was my fault. Without a doubt, it's you. You guys! Reinhardt's father and his grandfather who are at fault. But still, I'm angry. And just thinking about what sort of face that idiot will make when he finds out about this makes me even more angry. The moment I made him my knight, it wouldn't make sense for me to be uninvolved with the things involving him, no matter what they might be. Remember this, you shitty helmet bastard. What? Even if you do stuff with the intention of taking responsibility for it yourself, there's no way it'll ever be talked about in the insolence from that princess, or in isolation from that princess. All you're doing is kicking her corpse. Felt's sharp tongue and glint in her eyes gnawed at Aldebaran more so than any other poison until now. The relationship between knight and master was something that would not disappear even if one of them were to die. If Aldebaran gained notoriety, that would also become notoriety for Priscilla Barrio. With that trust before him anew, he experienced flesh pain and bitterness, but the princess is no longer among us. Didn't even leave a corpse behind. It's not that sort of... It is that sort of thing. To me, that's what lives are. That's... Oh my god, what the fuck? That's what lives are. As Felt laid her anger bare, she was silenced by a dry answer. Post-mortem renown and notoriety held no meaning whatsoever to the deceased. Even hinged on being alive, the feelings of joy and sorrow regarding the reputations of the dead were entirely formed from the sentimentality of those who lived. You gotta do your best while both you and your partner are still alive. That's all I have to say. You shitty helmet bastard. The hell even are you really? I'm a following star. Ooh, he said it. Oh, he said it. Hey, yo. This has been interesting. This has been interesting. A lot of shit has been going down, but I guess this is a little bit of that calm before the storm. So I already know my boy Otto's about to pull up. Like, I already fucking know my boy Otto's about to pull up. Imagine Otto pulling up right fucking now. I mean, he would be at a crazy, overwhelming disadvantage. But let's see. Following star? Failure of the star that shines brightest in the night sky. On that note, Aldebaran turned his back on Felt and resigned from the exchange. Then Aldebaran strode up to the chopping block over to Heinkel. Eyes downcast without raising his visage, Heinkel ignored Aldebaran, but he ought to have noticed him. His breathing and the flinch of his body had perceived his presence. Oh. No. Heard like some shit outside. My trash cans were being picked up. Anyway. Oh. Where am I at? It was easy to imagine that he would feel on edge. It was a bit troubling to decide on what to say, but I'll keep my promise. When this is all over, the dragon blood will be yours no matter what. Right now, what Heinkel necessitated was neither consolation nor apology, but a firm, definite promise. At Aldebaran's words, formed by his thinking, Heinkel's breath caught, followed by his outstretched hand grabbing the hem of Aldebaran's tunic, pulling him closer by sheer force. Suddenly down on one knee, Aldebaran felt the cold edge of a blade fastened to his nape, and his eyes met Heinkel's. With blood splattering on his face, Heinkel's blue eyes were bloodshot. With blood splattered on his face, Heinkel's blue eyes were bloodshot. No matter what! No matter what, keep your promise. The dragon's blood, whatever it takes. The Witch of Envy, too. I know. I've got no intention of letting the world end. That's the purpose of gluttony. Is it to wipe? Is it to eat? Is it to eat Petra's memories? Oh. Feeling the sharp pain on his nape, Aldebaran composed himself and responded so. He softly raised his arm as well, forcing Yabe to back off as she was about to respond to Heinkel's rash action. Then, after Aldebaran and Heinkel stared each other up close for a while. Shit! Spitting that word out, Heinkel shoved Aldebaran back, getting his body back up after falling on his backside. Aldebaran looked at his fore and saw that Heinkel had returned to hanging his head, shutting himself away like before. Witnessing that, Aldebaran fiddled with the metal fixture on his helmet and sighed. For the time being, he had grasped— wait a second. Hold on. Wait. Who? Oh shit, he does Odin? Oh, okay, and Satan. Oh, interesting. Okay, all right. I know that seemed a little cooked. I was like, if Subaru is, if Al is Subaru, then that would mean that like Al's voice would be an older Subaru voice. So I was like, wait a minute, like did they have like the same voice actor that I just didn't know? That would have been like a fucking crazy ass spoiler though, or reveal. But I digress. Blah. Yeah, that would have been too obvious. They would have made that too obvious. Let's see, where am I at? For the time being, he had grasped the state of each party member. He would not deny that as a result of entering the royal capital, everyone had been exhausted for better or worse. But the fact that nobody had been lost, and the fact that he had secured Roy, had made up for that. Thus, he could proceed. Frankly, he was well aware that he was not cut out for this, but he had no choice but to lead them. For the time being, we should be able to settle down here. We'll eat Ye's food and resume movement after a bit of rest. The chaos from the royal capital is only going to continue. Snapping his fingers as a substitute for clapping his hands, Aldebaran gathered everyone's attention. Until this point, Ye and Heinkel, who had been accompanying him from the start, had been marching on nearly 3 days without rest or sleep. He had intended on taking some time to let them rest. That was, if a giant boulder had not been dropped from the high sky, almost as if to interrupt Aldebaran's words. What? With that, right after, oh my god, I skipped, I saw it, damn it. With that, right after mistaking it for thin, whoa. I'm so excited. With that, right after mistaking it for a thin cloud shadow, Aldebaran was crushed by the extreme weight. Merely, far in the distance, he felt as if he could hear the buzzing of insects. Otto Suin was enraged. Forgot I was making some food. All right. He resolved to do whatever he must to rid the land of that evil and ruthless king. To the point that the nonsensical cliche stock phrase that Subaru had told him that people use when they got angry flashed through his mind. Otto was enraged. There was no need to disclose who the direct cause and target of that rage was. The sinner, the great sinner, Aldebaran, had committed an unforgivable transgression. That was not only due to his betrayal of the hearts of those who were concerned for his mental and physical well-being, but also due to the fact that he had broken nearly 100 of the most important laws prescribed by the kingdom. However, what enraged Otto the most was the fact that he had antagonized Otto's very own family. Is he referring to like the gang, like the squad? Otto considered himself a pacifist. He fundamentally disliked conflict. And believed in avoiding any trouble that he could. In fact, even during the time he traveled together with Frufu as a merchant, he seldomly stuck his nose into disputes of others, or chose the usage of violence, unless he was given no other option. However, his situation changed upon joining the Amelia camp and taking on the position of its internal affairs minister. He did not appreciate Subaru's teasing of him being a militant internal affairs minister, but pacifism and mild-mannered diplomacy were not top priorities in his current position. The caliber and intensity of the malice he had to face was far greater than anything he had experienced as a traveling merchant. And if he continued to respond in a half-hearted, passive manner, he would fail to protect those whom he wished to protect the most. Likewise, he exercised both self-awareness of his situation self-awareness of his status as someone entrusted by a royal selected candidate, and self-control that he warned himself must never slip. As the camp's internal affairs minister and a key administrator of the Mather's domain management, Otto held a status and power of his position that he could have never dreamed of before. So that he would never be swallowed up by that and lose sight of his place, Otto admonished himself daily. Those efforts Otto made to admonish himself, however, were forgotten the moment someone laid their hands on his family. Everyone has their own circumstances, but I will not tolerate someone who is unwilling to find a solution at the negotiating table. If they desired mercy, he would show them mercy. If they desired generosity, he would show them generosity. That kind of consideration and goodwill was present within everyone in the camp, led by Amelia. Therefore, Otto also did his utmost to respect the integrity of that spirit of theirs. Even so, if the other party continued to trample over and take advantage of them, he would be left with no choice. If they desired his blessings, he would give them his blessings. If they desired his support, he would offer them his support. And if they desired to be hostile, then he would show them his utmost hostility. Thanks to Amelia-sama, the city came out unscathed. The evacuation of the Noble District was also completed in advance. The Knights of the Royal Capital have proven quite capable. Tightly clenching his fists, Otto processed the damage caused by the events that had just taken place. Since he needed to dedicate his mind to getting a grasp of the situation and understanding how things had progressed, he could not allow himself to give in to indignation. Truly, he felt mortified deep within his heart, mortified at his own pathetic disgrace. When the initial weight of the situation that had begun to move struck him over the head, Otto shamefully lamented his powerlessness, and was consoled by Amelia of all people. It should have been the opposite. That should never have occurred. The purpose of Otto's position was to ease Amelia's concerns, and yet the reality was that Otto had been on the verge of tears as he was comforted by Amelia and had his head raised back up by the words of none whom he ought to have been supporting, or to whom he ought to have been supporting, before given a push to his back. He had jokingly told Amelia that Subaru would kill him, but in his heart of hearts, Otto truly wanted to strangle himself to death. However, the dead would never get a chance to redeem themselves, so instead of foolishly wrapping his hands around his own neck, Otto would use his head with all his resolve. Fortunately, half crying like that helped him clear his head out a little. Though the thunder was still rumbling in his mind, the lightning allowed him to peer into the darkness. He had thought back to a long time ago when it was just him and Fu. Damn it. They were hurrying through the thunderstorm when a bolt of lightning struck the carriage bed, resulting in their entire load of cargo being reduced to ashes. As Otto lamented his great misfortune, his beloved dragon said to him, "Let's be glad that neither of us was hurt, all right?" And he could not deny the truth in her words. If one traveled through a thunderstorm, they had to be prepared to get struck by lightning. In that moment, however, it was up to the individual's luck whether they could avoid being burned to death by said lightning. By shaving away as many elements that luck could sway as possible, he forged ahead through that thunderstorm. What are we talking about right now? That was the essence that enraged Otto Suin's no-hold-barred fighting style. For that singular purpose, he would even play cards in his hand that were branded as ruthless without hesitation. The manifestation of that was, "While we were staying in the royal capital, we cannot prepare a military force surpassing Reinhardt-san, nor combat strength that exceed Felt-sama's group. As it is, when the turn to act comes back around to us, sheer force and numbers can no longer serve as absurd measures to stop them. By some artifice, Aldebaran had slipped past the sword Saint Reinhardt, Then, with the divine dragon Volcanica in his wake, he had pushed through Felt and her forces before reaching the royal capital. Otto and his group, having only just returned from the Valachian Empire and having gone separate ways from their allies, had no means to oppose the baffling ability of Aldebaran. Thus, neither Amelia, who was dispatched with orders to capture him alive, nor the summons of Wilhelm's group, who coincidentally were staying at the royal residence, were conceived as decisive strokes. Give me one sec. Actually made some ramen. Good old ramen. I'm so glad that my boy pulled up. And like I was like trolling, saying like, oh dude, it'd be crazy if fucking Otto pulled up. And then Otto fucking pulls up. Like, dude. It just goes to show just how much Subaru means to everybody. And it makes me more curious, because if Al is a failed version of Subaru, did people just not know that this motherfucker existed up until a certain point? Like, if he was in Lagunica or in the ReZero verse for like 19 years, like up until now, like was he just doing shit and just nobody just thought to be like, hey, who's this guy and why does he look like Subaru? But I guess I don't know. Like we definitely need to get Aldebaran's name chapter, because I gotta see this. Hold on, chat. Excuse me, I'm starving. I think that's part of why my reading is so fucking cooked. Didn't eat anything today. All I had was water and tea. Solid. Alright, one bite is okay. Okay. Ooh, yeah. Oh, yeah. A little bit of water. Oh, yeah. Clears the mind. Okay. Naturally, were Amelia and Wilhelm's group to reign victorious, it would have been ideal, but Otto had anticipated that such an outcome was likely unattainable. As matters stood, Otto's group had possessed no means of aggression beyond deploying the entirety of their available forces. Otto Suin possessed neither Reinhard van Astria's combat ability nor Volga Cromwell's strategic ingenuity. Oh my god, struggling to say that S word. He did not presume himself blessed to rival such talent, for he harbored no such inflated assessment of himself. Otto did not expect himself to transcend his mortal limits. At best, he could only muster 100% of his own ability. And with 100%, what Otto Suin could do was an abandoned quarry west of the royal capital. Oh, he probably had eyes on them with the Zada bugs. Dude, Otto's like intel, like ability to get intel is like insane. Cause you never know when he could be watching and like where he could be getting information from. Dude, Otto's insane. Sorry, chat, I just want to put a little bit of adobo in this shit. But yeah, like when you think about it, Otto can technically have eyes and ears everywhere. And but depending on like how he tries to link up with Ram. Oh, that explains more of their teamwork in Arc 4 when they were fighting Garth, because if Otto can talk to all like animals and shit, and then Ram is able to like put her synesthesia on the same wavelength as animals and shit and like insects and stuff, they're basically like working in tandem. Damn, that's actually insane now that I think about that. The tidings were born with the sound of fluttering wings, Otto narrowed his eyes as he marked the map. With one hand pressing a bloodied handkerchief to his nose, he tapped his hazy head. Divine protection overheating. When Subaru had thus dubbed the exhaustion born from overuse, Garfield's eyes had shined in the wondrous sound of it. Remembering that, Otto's lips relaxed. Overheating. That sounds quite nice. Even if my head splits open, I will not stop. Blood still trickled from his nose as Otto grumbled thus under the gathering whir of wings, Zotabugs, at whom he snapped his fingers, instructing them to their next course of action in the continuation of their surveillance. The Zotabugs possess an amiable disposition with a faint sense of individual awareness. They share directives as one being, and to persuade but a single insect would demonstrate results equivalent to persuading the entire swarm. For their service, they demanded but a single reward, a peaceful life. By virtue of his position as the Internal Affairs Minister, Otto had intended to secure their compensation. In return, the swarm must pledge obedience onto tasks of mortal peril, whilst performing reckless endeavors that surpassed human capability. They had clung to the fleeing divine protection to pinpoint its rendezvous point. Divine dragon. Mobilized swarms of 100,000 strong to drop boulders upon their foes, gathered every message left by the captured felt. Such deeds they wrought. The Grand Mogulade Geyser. It was a missive Felt had left in her captivity amidst Aldebaran's gang, cast forth in hope of reaching allies, which would later be salvaged within the ruins of the Barrio estate. The very manner of this delivery, evading surveillance to entrust her message to the Zotabugs, spoke volumes of Felt's unshakable courage. I fucking love Felt, dude. In truth, the missive contained naught but a toponym from the Kararagi city-states. It was likely Aldebaran and his group's next target, or possibly their ultimate destination. If that were... You know what would be interesting? Okay, wait, now I'm gonna finish this. If that was where they were headed, then by all means, let them go freely. Otto's watchful gaze would never leave them. Wherever they went, however they concealed themselves, Otto would endure ceaseless ringing in his ears and crimson stakes from his nose to track every last movement of Aldebaran's faction. Please do not delude yourself into thinking you can sleep again. The entire world is your enemy now. He had nothing like the strength to claim victory, naught remained but to continue to whittle away at his enemy's might. Thus did Otto Suin fight, not as the sword saint or as the greatest strategist, but as Amelia's internal affairs minister, one who exerted 100% of his strength. Hey, yo, why they got him with the Gojo, bro? Hey, yo, not the Gojo pose, dude. Oh my god, dude, this shit is fucking peak. Oh my god. Bro, this shit is... My boy Otto. My boy fucking Otto came through. Look at him. Man, I need to do an Otto Suin cosplay. Bro, Otto is too clean, bro. Otto is too clean, bro. Oh my god. Dude. Wait, what? Sometimes you need to hop to the memories out? Sorry for like the very bad reading initially. Like I had just gotten up, I was hungry, but now I got some food in me. I'm about to like binge the next part. But what I was gonna say is, let me see, wait, Oh yeah, okay, so like if he takes Subaru and Beatrice to the geyser, the Mogulade geyser, and he drops them there, and like assuming that that's sending him back to the real world, could Satella not just bring him back? But also, if he goes to the real world with Beatrice, would they still have powers? Could he still use magic and shit? Because obviously, like, the real world isn't like a fantasy world, but if he has a artificial spirit with him, by nature of her existence in the world, she should have her abilities, because she's not a human, she's a spirit. Just some food for thought. Just some food for thought. The man named Klein. Okay. Okay, we're gonna read the first passage, and then we're gonna wrap up, and then we're going to jump right into the I'm gonna like end the reading, then I'm gonna start reading this like myself. And when I say read it for myself, I mean reading it for the channel, just in the next video. Anyway. Ooh. Oh my god. While Aldebaran's party was being relentlessly pursued by powerful adversaries, there were two other places in the kingdom where grueling and fierce battles of equal intensity were being fought. One battle was between the Sword Saint, who continuously sought to prevent the destruction of the world, and the Witch of Envy, who persistently sought to swallow up the Augria sand dunes after manifesting a part of herself from the sealed shrine. Both the Witch of Envy and the Sword Saint possessed the power to instantly end any battle if they were facing any other opponent. But exactly because they were facing each other in battle, the fight remained evenly matched, and the outcome continued to be left undecided. The battle will continue for a full 7 days and 7 nights, bringing the grave cost of the world's destruction with it. The other battle, oh shit, no, sorry. I almost got super into going down and reading everything. Okay. Wait, where am I? Oh, the other battle, as opposed to Aldebaran's party and the Sword Saints, did not involve physical conflict, yet had the potential to influence the outcome of the other two battles greatly. In other words, it was the struggle of those who were pursuing the following star, with Petra Lete as the key. Petra knew very little about the man named Klein. He was on her side. That there was absolutely no doubt. Anna Rose Melode, his master, was a shrewd little girl who, despite her young age and the unfortunate blemish of being related to Roswell, remained unfazed through and through. She was one of the Amelia camp's strongest supporters, and, even from Petra's perspective, was undoubtedly charmed by Amelia. Klein, who dedicated himself to supporting Amorose, was trusted as a versatile, all-purpose butler. Had also given Petra lessons in etiquette and manners when she first started working as a maid. All right, my boys. Hey, yo, we're about to just start reading the next one. So, this has been your boy Zero, aka Black Noski Subaru. If you guys enjoyed this, leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell as well so you can stay updated on when I make videos, content go live, and all that good crazy shit. Don't forget to share with your homies. And don't forget to check the link in the description. We do have a Discord. We do talk about ReZero. We have a ReZero channel in the Discord. It's a fun time. Lots of cool people there. Would love to have y'all. So I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. Till next time, peace.